Global transportation is changing and the world's automakers are transitioning to electric vehicles. This is a warning for the industry that it's time to fundamentally rethink traditional car manufacturing. Several traditional automakers are starting to switch to EV production, and electric vehicle startups have also made their way to the market. The conversation of traditional car makers and the birth of new EV companies have increased competition in the EV sector, especially for some companies like Tesla that have been in the business for quite some time. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Tesla Tomorrow. For most investors, the question is not whether Tesla has competitors, but instead how Tesla is responding to the competition. In 2021, Tesla sold 936,000 cars globally, an 87% increase for the year. Ford, GM, and Stellantis, on the other hand, all sold fewer cars in 2021 than they did in 2020. There's no doubt that the competition in the EV sector keeps rising. However, a company like Tesla may continue to maintain its lead, irrespective of the changing market. And most companies that are trying to meet up with Tesla in terms of EV production are likely to keep losing. In 2021, established automakers like General Motors and Ford Motor operated in a different reality from Tesla. GM and Ford closed one factory after another due to shortages of computer chips, leaving dealer lots bare and sending car prices up. These companies have to work through several hurdles to avoid losses while making their EVs, and to an extent generate more revenue. However, none have been able to do it the Tesla way. So why does Tesla keep winning, and why is no other company coming close? More to come in this video, but before we start, if you like this type of content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to keep up to date on everything going on with Tesla. Toyota, well known for its hybrid vehicles, is also famous for its cautiousness to invest in fully electric vehicles. While the global auto industry was busy transitioning to a battery-powered future during the last couple of years, the Japanese automaker was barely getting started on its journey. In April 2021, Toyota announced an EV strategy, which started with a goal to have 15 new battery EVs by 2025. The EV strategy, however, was revamped a few times after the car company failed at getting ahead in the EV race. Likewise, Japanese automaker Subaru has also been concentrating its efforts towards making electric vehicles. Subaru said it will ramp up its electric offerings in the critical US market to include several battery EVs by 2025 as it shifts development to focus on the segment. The electric vehicle rollout will lean on Subaru's partnership with Toyota Motor and be further amplified by the expansion of the company's hybrid models as well. According to the senior vice president of the corporate planning division of the company, Tomoki Amori, the automaker's main electrification strategy centers on strong hybrids and electric vehicles and introducing such models in the US by 2025. He added that looking at the US market situation, there's a need to offer several models in the company's electric vehicle lineup, which is why it has shifted its weight toward that in the development of cars. Similarly, when General Motors launched the GMC Hummer electric vehicle in 2021, the automaker touted it as a new benchmark for its vehicle development time, but the production and sales pace of the truck have been anything but that. The Detroit automaker only sold 854 of the vehicles in 2022. That's an average of 17 trucks per week, including some downtime at the production plant. In October, GM CEO Mary Barra pushed back plans for GM to collectively produce 400,000 electric cars in North America by 6 months due to the inability to ramp up battery production as quickly as the company expected. Mazda's first electric car, the MX-30, is disappointing to many in the electric vehicle community due to its short range, although the Japanese automaker says that it is not so bad for buyers who also have a second car at home for longer travel. The company has long been a laggard when it comes to electric vehicles. Mazda launched its first all-electric car in 2020, and it was only for the European market, where regulations are forcing automakers to release more electric vehicles. On the other hand, Tesla racked up record sales quarter after quarter and ended 2021 having sold nearly twice as many vehicles as it did in 2020 unhindered by an industry-wide crisis. Now it's becoming clear that the company simply had a superior command of technology and its own supply chain. Tesla appeared to better forecast demand than businesses that produce many more cars than it does. Electric vehicles come with a lot of challenges which most of these other companies have to face without unlimited funding. These automakers were surprised by how quickly the car market recovered from a steep drop early in the pandemic and had simply not ordered enough chips and parts fast enough. Tesla, however, did things a little differently. When Tesla couldn't get the chips it had counted on, it took the ones that were available and rewrote the software that operated them to suit its needs. Larger auto companies couldn't do this because they relied on outside suppliers for much of their software and computing expertise. Automakers often relied on these suppliers to deal with chip manufacturers, but when the crisis hit, the automakers lacked bargaining clout. Tesla software, which can be updated remotely, is considered the most sophisticated in the auto business. Also, the company's cars use fewer chips because the company controls functions like battery cooling and autonomous driving from a smaller number of centralized, onboard computers. Tesla has the ability to conjure up critical components, and this gives it great significance in the industry. This means that Tesla, and possibly other young electric car businesses, could threaten the dominance of giants like Volkswagen and GM sooner and more forcefully than most industry executives and policymakers realize. In terms of global delivery, Tesla vaulted past Volvo and Subaru in 2021. And some analysts predicted that it could sell 2 million cars this year as factories in Berlin and Austin start to ramp up with the aid of automation, just like it has done at its Shanghai facility. This would likely put Tesla in the same league as BMW and Mercedes in only a matter of years. Tesla performance has been incredible compared to what it used to be in 2018, when the automaker's production and supply problems made it a laughingstock in the industry, and many of this stemmed from Elon Musk's insistence that Tesla make many parts itself. By doing more on its own, Tesla was able to avoid shortages of batteries, which have limited companies like Ford and GM from selling lots of electric cars. In 2014, when most car makers were still debating whether electric vehicles would ever amount to anything, Tesla broke ground on what it called a gigafactory to produce batteries with its partner, Panasonic. Now, that factory helps ensure a reliable supply. While Tesla admits that this was a risk, making this decision early has helped the automaker to have much more control over its own fate. And now other car companies have realized that they need to do some of what Elon Musk and Tesla have been doing all along. For instance, Mercedes plans to use fewer specialized chips in its coming models and more standardized semiconductors, and to write its own software. According to a member of the carmaker's management board, Markus Schaefer, Mercedes will make sure it is customized and standardized chips in its cars, not 1,000 different chips. He added that Mercedes will also design its own vehicle hardware, just like some others who have earlier gone down this road. Likewise, Toyota has no plans to invest $35 billion to build a full lineup of 30 battery-powered EVs by 2030. The automaker also has a new global battery EV sales goal from 2 million to 3.5 million units a year by the end of this decade. There's no doubt that Tesla could still run into problems as it tries to replicate the growth it achieved in 2021. However, the automaker will likely suppress these issues. Tesla is also aiming at increasing sales about 50% a year for the next several years. The car company has previously acknowledged that its creative maneuvering around supply chain chaos might not work so well as it has increased production and requires more chips and other parts. What do you think about rising competition in the EV sector? Let us know down below. And if you want to know more about what Tesla's been up to over the last few days, go ahead and click on this next video on your screen. See you there.